All right, so Wriothesley, this guy, he's all right. Maybe I don't know at this point. Do I regret him? No. Basically, this guy is absolutely fun to use. There's nothing. I gotta look at the camera now. It's weird. I'm trying the face cam. It's a little weird to do. But basically, this guy, there's nothing wrong with him. I have him as C3R1. The dude does so well. I do love this guy so much. He is really, really strong. He's got the C3 on my account. And the best part about this is, like, his best team, right? His best team uses Mavwika and Shilonen. Now, why is that the best part? Well, because these are two characters that I've invested incredibly high into. I mean, come on. This is absolutely a perfect match for someone like a Wriothesley main like myself who wanted to, well, I say Wriothesley main. Let's be real. I mean, Mavwika, guys. I mean, Mavwika. But it's a perfect match for this character. Honestly, I love this character. And the fact that some extra characters that I summoned for make this guy literally hit 50% harder than a C0 or C1 R0. Yeah, my two characters there add 100,000 damage just to one charge attack just by having, well, I didn't even compare with Shilonen's weapon, did I? No, it was 220 with her weapon. So yeah, I mean, they make him hit about 100,000 damage harder than on his charge attacks, and that's pretty good in my eyes. Oh yeah, I don't know how he ended up there. Subscribe or the chicken nugget gets sacrificed. All right, you can see the other 4 faces if you subscribe. I lied. I only have 3 left. There was 5. I think my dog ate one. But let's get back into Wriothesley. This guy's super fun to use. I really do love using this character. Whenever I do use him, I'm never like, oh man, I wish he was better. No, it's generally now with the feeling, especially with C2 Mavwika in the game. Basically, it's super easy to have this guy be great. I love him. He does like 300,000 damage per charge shot. And he's doing about 3 of those, and that's 900,000 damage. And then if you really want to be like, cheeky with it, you can make Mavwika do like 1,000,000 damage, at least on my account. So do I regret Wriothesley? No, I just don't. I don't. This guy, he's super fun to use. He's great. I love the man. His design is great. If you don't know the lore behind his voice actors, I think what it is, it's Japanese is Jotaro. And then, like, the English version voice actor is literally, like, an ex-terrorist, like, person. I don't know. But he's got some of the coolest voice actors ever. One of those is more cooler than the other. I'll let the weebs decide which one that is. The JoJo fans are going to destroy the comments if they're there. But, yeah, I like the guy. I see no point. Like, when we look at characters on my account, it's like, oh, Ito's here, He can get carried by, like, C2 Mavwika and Shilonen, right? Like, he can work in a team of C2 Mavwika, Shilonen, and Furina. That's going to work. It's a great team for, him. However, it's not necessarily a team that it's like, oh, wow, Ito, you're so good. It's more like all right, come on, boy. Whereas with Wriothesley, it's like, oh, yeah, Wriothesley, he's actually doing some decent stuff. And I mean, in part, you have to attribute some of Mavwika's damage if you do decide to do that melt, reaction with her burst. You do have to attribute some of, that damage to Wriothesley. Like, Wriothesley is not a character who I think is carried by Mavwika, which I honestly, I wouldn't expect to have said that until I literally just press record. Some people think I script these videos. I don't. I don't. Who told you that? I've now had 2 people tell me that. But, like, I forgot what I was going to say now. Wriothesley, man, he's not being carried, I feel like. He's able to put in some work. And that is because I have C3, right? I do have C3. But even if I had them, like, C1, R1, that's the kind of level that I would say that you're kind of close to the C3 Wriothesley at. Because, really, while I like his burst, I don't really use it that often. And especially when I'm, like, comparing him against other characters, I really just forget to use it or purposely don't use it just because I have the C2 and I'm comparing to a lower level character, right? So, generally, if I'm comparing, I don't really factor in his burst at all, which it is a decent AoE, like, destroyer-ish, especially at C2. I remember at C1, I was like, okay, this can be used to, maybe, kill some small enemies. We have had some HP increases to the Abyss, so I don't really think that this is usable like that anymore. Maybe if you guys want to let me know, the C0 Wriothesley havers or the C1 Wriothesley havers, feel free to let me know, because I don't know. And then obviously C3 does increase his damage by a bit. It looks like a lot on paper, but I've not really cared to test that out. It's a damage increase, but I think if you have him at C0R1 or C1R1, then you're probably going to see similar results, and you're probably going to be speaking around the same point at where I am. However, you wouldn't have C2 Mavwika because you're a wimp. And then also you wouldn't have C2 Shieldon because you ain't got no money. You broke boy. I don't know what to tell you. You broke boy. You didn't spend your life savings on Genshin. I like covered everything. I think I kind of just said I liked using Wriothesley like 700 times. I like using Wriothesley if you haven't said that enough. I don't know if 700 or maybe like we go for 777. I don't know. But like there's not really much for me to say. This guy just performs in a manner that doesn't feel like bad, right? It's not like I'm taking my Chaska and I'm like, man, you just did a 2-minute time. Chaska, what's wrong with you? I really got a question. Like, why? And like that's what happened with Chaska. Like she got like a barely a minute 30, I think is what it was on my video or something. I don't remember. But I mean, with C2 Mavwika, like you just don't feel nearly as bad when you use it. Like because I have this character with investment, and that's something that I gotta talk about. This character is an investment character. I've realized this because he is seriously. You get so much better with his constellations overall. Like it just is a genuine, like I feel like this character is like one of the characters that is like really high investments, and then you're like, oh my god. Like when this character released, his C6 performance was really up there, and that's just mainly because of this, adding an extra charge attack to his damage. Basically how I said 320,000 earlier, you would basically take that 320,000 times 2. That basically that is what it would look like, but you also add 80% crit damage to that, which if we go ahead and we look at my Wriothesley, he's at 208. That's nearly a 50% increase in damage, which is why we can go ahead and we can look at my Knitch real quick. It's why, okay, 56% crit rate, 200 crit damage almost. This is basically a 50% increase to his raw damage. It should be, at least from what I know about crit damage. Maybe correct me in the comments. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure. Obviously my Knitch build not the best, but it is like top 8% in the world. What was it again? Yeah, it's 8.5% is my Knitch. He is 8.5% in the world. And it's just mainly because he has a high crit rate. You need high crit rate if you want to be high on the Akasha leaderboards, by the way. But, and especially on Knitch, just in general, get this guy at a high crit rate and you're good. But generally, this should increase his damage, just raw damage, by 50%. Like, you should be doing 50% more damage if you have 200 crit damage. And basically, the reason why we explain this is because Wriothesley gets 80%, right? He also does get 10% crit rate onto only the charge attack, which I think is a little dumb. Like, if I'm being entirely honest, he should get just 10% raw crit rate. There's no reason he shouldn't. I really don't get why they didn't do that, because what that leads to is, well, you can have 90% or crit rate on these, but like Wriothesley isn't like doing nothing with his other normals. His other normals do hit up to like 100,000, maybe sometimes 200,000 if you're like, really trying to giga charge him in some other way. But like his normals don't do nothing. And I think a lot of people really only look at his charge attack damage. I'm guilty of it too. I've done it sometimes. But Wriothesley, he's able to do some decent damage on his normals, right? He's able to do some decent damage on his normals. And I think a lot of people also underrate his AoE. His AoE is not bad. He can consistently hit 2 opponents, right? Now, whether he melts on the 2 opponents, that's a little issue. Mainly, it's just depending on what the opponents are. Like, if the opponents are able to stick sort of close together, generally he has about a good AoE in terms of that, and you don't really need much more than that. But you can even hit 2 opponents if they're really next to each other, and then, like, you could sort of punch through one of them, right? You could do that. It's very uncommon, I would say. I don't really see that a lot. You can maybe get 1 or 2 hits in there, but in terms of an entire combo string, it's not happening. But the charge attack generally has a good enough AoE to hit 2 opponents very consistently, I would say. Just whether you melt on the other opponent is kind of an issue. Mavwika, I've been having some weird issues with Mavwika where she should really be in the AoE of the opponents, but like she only hits one of the opponents and the other one that's standing right next to you doesn't get hit, even though they should. Like, it's been a very weird thing that I've been noticing with support Mavwika, although I don't really think it's ever mattered. I mean, I went and did an entire Abyss run with Wriothesley recently, and he did very well, because I was looking to see like what comparable, like maybe Chaska's not doing as bad as I think she is, and maybe it's just in general these single target DPSs struggle with that. He did not struggle with it. He just didn't. I don't know what to tell you. Chaska mains get good. But literally, yeah, it's the reason why I say Wriothesley is just better than Chaska. I mean, sure, he's C3, but Chaska was way far behind his time from what I remember. It wasn't even like a question, and I could have done. I do not personally do the melt tactic with Mavuika at all. I just don't, because I don't see the need to. I don't intentionally do it. So when I can do it, I don't. And I could have done it in those runs, and Mavuika could have done a lot better. Just saying. Just saying. So overall, yeah, I love this character. He's not a bad performance at all. Like, sure, I have him at the C3R1, but I don't know what to say. Like, I have him at C3R1. It's what it is. It's literally what it is. I have him at C3R1. I can't, like, take that away from him. I can't. I wish I could toggle Constellations. That'd be a really nice feature to have, because then I can actually see what a Wriothesley performance is at, with those lower Constellation levels. But Genshin doesn't have the feature. I don't know if they'll ever add the feature, because I really don't think they want to. There's obviously a reason that they don't want to at this point, because we've been asking, and they just have not added the feature. So, overall, I gotta say, no, I don't regret this guy. He's still one of my more favorite characters to use, especially with the resurgence in Natlin, having an actual Pyro applicator who is able to easily apply Pyro for him with Mavuika, and Mavuika giving him the 20% Rise Shred. It's very, very strong, very, very fun to use, and overall, I love this team. If it didn't use Mavuika, I would probably be using it every single Abyss. I'm gonna be honest. At Mavuika right now, I love using her as support, but like, man, I really want to use her as a DPS, Like, that's the main issue I have with Mavuika right now. And it's not really an issue. It's just like, she's just good. She's that good. It's like Bennett. You want 2 Bennetts. Like, you want 2 Bennetts for, like, your attack scalar teams. But you don't have it. But is that a fault of Bennett? No. So I would not consider it a fault of Mavuika either. You can honestly consider it maybe a fault of all the other characters that want support Mavuika as their best in slot support. But that's a lot of characters. And I'm not willing to make a tier list on that, based on that. No, we're just going to say that Mavuika is a support character, all right? No. So yeah, if you've noticed throughout the video, I've had a face cam. I've done it once before, but the video did pretty badly, so I figured I'd maybe try it again, see if it does better. But if it doesn't, then, well, this is the last time you will ever see me again. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. And if you really enjoy the video, feel free to become a member. It's $5 a month. You get videos 8 to 12 hours early. I try and, do stuff. I try and get the videos out as soon as possible. I'm probably going to edit this one right now, which is at 4 p.m. Assuming I get it up at 6, that's 14 hours early. So if you want a video early. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.